So now we are going to dimension the floor plan that we are seeing on the screen, and for this we will be using linear dimension and the dimension style. Now for this we need to first understand what would be the pattern of dimensioning. So let's first of all go with the dimension style, and let's see how we can set the dimension style for this dimension. Now this drawing is made in millimeters. This is plan that has been made in the millimeters. So what we need to do is we need to first of all set the style of the dimension. So for that you need to go to the dimension style with press D in the command panel, and the dimension style will be displayed. Now here you can see that there is a default dimension style. So what I will do is I will go with the new option. So here in fact in the new option I would say that I would like to go with the Arial. So this is the Arial dimension that I want to take and make it current, continue and make it current. So before making it current we need to set some styles to it. For example, the lines, the dimension line, I want to have it by layers. The line type, line weight, I will keep default, and the default baseline spacings I will keep default. And similarly by layer, the color. If I want to give a different color to the dimension lines, so I can take red, or for the extension line I can take let's say the magenta color, and you can see the changes over here. Other settings we will keep it default. Now next is the symbols. For the arrowhead there are different options. I would prefer to take a close field right now as per the ISO standard, and similarly first arrowhead means the arrowhead left and right. So, and also for the leaders I would like to have the arrowhead like this. Now next is for the center mark. Okay, I don't require right now. The chalk dimension height factor, let's put it default. For the text I want to have a new style. Let's say I want to have a style called Arial, and then what I need to do is here, so let's say I would like to have Arial 1, and then I would like to have the text style as Arial here. Let's say I would take type A, so the Arial style will come over here, and the height I'll keep 0 because I want to fix the height, the text height from the dimension style, so it is 0. So set it current. Okay, so close. So now here take the text style as Arial 1. Next is basically fitting the option. Now this particular here we'll all keep the default settings like the fit options or the text placement. And then other thing that we will do is this draw dimension lines between extension lines. Here the fit option we would keep a default value. Let's say right now if the text height is for example 2.5, so I would like to have the text height on the screen as, let's say, for example 50 times, or let's say depending upon the scale factor that I will be using. So let's say if I take the overall scale as 100, so what will happen, all entities inside the dimension style, be it the extension line or the arrowheads, all will change accordingly. Here the primary units I would like to take decimal, and since we are using millimeters, so I would have a 0 option over here. And other thing that I want to keep it, for example the decimal separator, there is no decimals. In fact I don't require the decimal separator, but if it would have been there I would use the period option. And apart from that so this is the primary units that I want to set. Later on I will be having an alternate unit, but I don't want to use the alternate unit right now. So I'll go with the fit option and check all the options over here, the symbols and arrows, primary units. Okay. And here another thing is the text option. I can keep aligned with the dimension or horizontal. So if I keep horizontal, it will be visible on the screen. So I would it will be horizontal to the screen x-axis. So I want to keep it aligned with the dimension line, or I would like to go with the ISO standards. So I say okay. So make this as set current. Let's test with the dimension. Let's say dim-lin command, or we can go with the linear dimension over here. So here the first point here, so now you can see this here, we have got some rooms over here. We have the columns placed over here, and the windows are there, the shades are there, and the staircase. So we are going to also have the leader over here for the showing the up and down of the staircase. Okay, let me first of all get the staircase hidden over here, because it is not hidden. So okay, so this is something that I would like to have it. Okay, so now I would go with the annotate option, and then I would go with the linear dimension. Now my current style is Arial that I have chosen. Let's say if I want to see the dimension from the column at the top, at the bottom. So now you can see a dimension is placed. So let's place it somewhere here. So it shows that it is 9905. Now let me change the color of the dimension line. So I go to the D command, and let's say here we have the dimension lines. I have made it red, so I want to have a different color. Let's say I want to make it a bit of, let's say, okay, a different color, so that it does not matches with the, so now it is changed, so it's 9905. Now you can see there is a distance that has been given from the, so text is not it is above the dimension line. So next I want to dimension the horizontal, so I would go here and set the overall length. So you can see that I have this overall length over here. So this is one dimension that I have checked. So now the entire you can see that there is 12,620 millimeters in the X, that is 12.62 meters, and 9,905 millimeters in the Y direction. Now let's see how we can dimension the columns. In fact, I want to mark the columns first. So just I would push the main dimension a little bit down, so that I would like to have the center to center distance of the columns. Okay, so now here what I need to understand that okay, this is the floor plan that I'm going to do. So here I would be like to have the center to center distance of the windows. So now and the openings. So there is a door over here, and there is a window over here. So for this, let's say if I want to assign a dimension to the window, let's say the end of the wall here, and let's say the center of the window is, let's say, 2300. So if the first dimension plays over here, and then I want to mark the another window over here. So it says dim. So now here I can go with dim continue. So I can have the dim continue. I can basically show that there is another window over here, and then I can select this end dimension. So now this is the dimension that I have done for the windows. So similarly, if I want to go in the y-axis, the dimension, now here basically we are showing the location of the windows with reference to the walls. So you can see that the window, this size of the window can be derived from the window schedule, or we can dimension the window later on, but this is how the dimension can be done. Similarly, if we want to give the measurements of the room, so here we have for example, let's start with the bedroom. So I would like to have the size, let's say this is 4600, and here the size of the bedroom I would like to give as in the y direction. From here I take, let's say I can take from the midpoint to the end point over here. So now I can use the dimension break option over here. Now here you can see that there is option where I can use the break option, as we have already discussed about how the dimension break option can be done. So to use the dimension break, you need to go and see that what is the break that you want. But here we have the break option. So select this dimension as discussed. So you have a break over here, so that it does not coincide with the dimension. So you can have the break option. So dimension break is something that a dim break, you can basically select the dimension and break it from where you want. Similarly, if I want to dimension the living room, now the bedroom size is 4600. So I have missed the dimension. I have to go to the internal part. So it is 4600 by 4600. Similarly, if I want to give the dimension of the living room, so I can always go with dim-lin, and I can select the extreme point, let's say here, of the living room, and the sizes is 4600. And similarly, I can give a dimension in the, I can take another dimension over here and place it somewhere here. Then I can also use the command called dim break, where I want to give a gap between the crossing dimension. So now you have this dimensions that are given to the living room, the bedroom. So now you can see the sizes. So this is the way you go with the how you set the dimension style. And let's do more dimensions so that you get a, you would like, you can understand how the dimensions can be done. So here in this particular area, I'm going to dimension the columns as well as the windows, in order to show you the representation of how column sizes and the windows can be done. So there are different standards that we need to follow as per the BIS code or the ISO code of how the dimensions can be done. So these dimensions are done depending upon what type of documents we are delivering. It is a floor plan, or it is a footing plan, or an architectural plan, depending upon. So you have got different types, the way of giving the dimensions. So here, let's say if I want to give the dimension of this landing, so I can go with the dim-lin, and here we have the linear dimension, which is 2300. And similarly, if I want to give the dimension of the opening, it says the 1000, and then I can give the other side would be the left out of the wall would be 2300 minus 1000. Similarly, if I want to give the dimension of the width of the staircase, including the railing, so it says that it is 1500. So this is the way that we can do the dimension of the plan. Similarly, if we want to, now we will be taking more examples of it. Now, if I want to give up sign over here, so I can always use a Q-leader option or a multi-leader option. So if I use the multi-leader option, so here, in fact, so I would prefer that I should use, so because in the multi-leader you need to set the style. So here we the style manager, and here in the new you say custom. So then you need to give the type it's straight, and color, let's say by layer. And then if you there's a break in the leader, that is fine. Arrowhead size, so let's say here the arrowhead size, I would like to give a value which would be, let's say 200, or let's say 100 is the size of the arrowhead. And leader structure, so here I can say that I need 3 points, 1 2 3. So let me go with the 3 points, and the content would be an M text, or the style that I want to select is the Arial. Okay, and the height I would like to give it as 200. Okay, or I would like to give an Arial 1, or Arial is fine. So set current. Now I have basically created a style. So in the content, say let's say I would like to first of all change the style to Arial. So okay, now let's see if how can we give the, so you have this so now that you can see the arrow which is developing. So let's say if I want to have the arrow from here, and let's say 2, and let's say 1 2 3 points. So if you want to give more points, let's say if you want 4 points, then you need to adjust it. Let's say now we have got 3 points, 1 and 2 and 3. So if you want to give 4 points, so you need to have the settings over here. Go to the modify, and here in the leader structure, the maximum leader points is, let's say 4. So right, so now we can go with the leader, and let's say I just fix it, and I would like to have the end at this point. So now I would like to have the text as up, which is already I have mentioned it as the Arial font, and I had given the size of it. Okay, so this is how I basically do a leader and for the staircase. So let me give some quick dimensions for the toilets also, and see if there is any adjustments that I had to make. So since we the toilet, we have to go inside because I have to show the inside dimensions. So if so, it's 2100, and similarly, if I want to give the dimension inside, so I would like to take a dim and I would suggest a size. So here you can see that the dimensions are intersecting with each other. So in this case, you can make a bit adjustment or reduce the size, and then you can have a dim break. So you can have a dim break, and here you can go with a dim break. So this is how the dimensions can be done, and let us do with this particular set of windows and columns. So go with the dim line, and so here we can have the, let's say, the sizes here. Now you can see it is placed outside. So now if you want to place the dimension, let's say, you can always move this with the dimension line, so it can be moved outside. Now it is using the fit option in the dimension style. If the dimension text does not fit inside the extension line, it fit it outside the dimension line, so it is following that particular rule. Now go with the dim continue, and here you can have this the size, the window over here. Let's say I have the window size, and then I go with the column, and now you can see with the leader it is put outside, and here again you can have the dimensions done, right? So if there is some congestion that has been seen, we can always settle down the congestion by moving the text. For example, here we have the text. Just move the cursor on the selected grid, and you can always move it up, and similarly if you want to do with this dimension, so you can always move the dimension line up, or with the leader, whatever you want to do. So this is how the dimensions can be worked out in a plan. Next is also thinking that if I would explain you how to create elevations from the plan, but before that I would like to do another dimension for the footings. So I have this footing over here. Here I would be using some leaders also, like for example mentioning about the damp proof course or the sizes and other thing. Now we have this particular figure from where the sketch has been made. So we have this first of all, let's give, this is the section of load bearing wall with the foundation detail. So this is the ground floor. So if I want to mention this as the FGL, so what I can do is I can have the leader. So for that, again, I have to look into it, the size of the leader, because if I am mentioning the leader, again the size of the arrows and the text will be have to be maintained. So I have to have a style for the leader as well as for the dimensions that I'm using. So again, let's go with the dimension style, and again the default will be ISO 25. So I'm using, let's say, custom, and here I would be using let's say times as a style. So let's say continue, and similarly I would go with the default option, all the default option. The text I would be using a style called times, and here I would be selecting the uh, times standard, times New Roman, or I would be times New Roman. So I press T for the times New Roman, and there's a height, so I get for set current. So close. Okay, so here again we have the fit option, Again, I can give a fit, let's say I can have the value between 50 and 100 because the size that I want should be scaled up. This scale is basically scaling the sizes over here that has been given default, like 2.5 or the symbols of the arrow. So this is the fit scale. So let's say if I take a scale of 50, that means on the screen the arrow size will be shown as, let's say for example, if there is an arrow size which is 2.5, 50 into 2.5, that would be around 125 millimeters size. Similarly, other sizes will be scaled up as per the default sizes and the fit scale. So in the primary unit, I would be going with decimal definitely, and it would be 0. And so let's see how it can be worked. First of all, let's go with the dimension. Now here, this is the finished floor level, and this is the plinth level in fact, and this is the ground floor level. So, and this is the PCC, you can see that, and then 1:4:8, and this is the course leveling course grade with gravel. So there are two courses over here again. So this is the depth of the foundation from here to here. Let's see what is the depth of the foundation. So I go with the linear. So I have this depth of the foundation as 1150. Now we have to see that whether we have chosen the text style correct. So it is standard right now. So I'm going to take times over here. So let me, so this is 1150. So here what I can do, I can use a baseline dimension, or I can use a continued dimension depending upon what is my requirement. So again here I would again go with let's say the dimensions of this footing. Let's say I would go with dim-lin, and first of all I will dimension the filling, that is the below the PCC. So I can keep this. So if I want to reduce the size of the text and the arrows, so I can go to the custom times and style, and the fit I can make it, let's say 30 as a scale, and you can see that the size of the text and the arrow size all will uniformly change. So then what I can do is, if I want to move the extension lines and I want to have a particular gap, or this is basically dynamically moving the extension line, but if I want to have a uniform gap, let's say a particular, so what I can do is, in this dimension style, I can always go for let's say the gap over here, for example in the lines. So there is something called offset from origin. Now here the offset from origin is 0.625, the value, into the fit option. Let's say in the third, this is 30 is the scale, so it would be 18 mm. If I want to have more spacing between the origin of the, from where the dimension has been taken, and the extension line, so I can give a value. Let's say if I take it as 1 mm as the distance, so actually the offset would be 1 into the fit option, that the 30 mm will be the distance. So now you can see that so if I give a value, let's say let me put it like this. So now let's say here I have taken the offset from origin as the 1 unit, or I can say 1.5, and then the fit option is 30 units, scale option is 30 units. So what will happen if I take a dimension over here? This is the origin of the, this is the first, and this is the, so here if I want to give the depth of the foundation, so obviously this is the first point of the dim linear, and this is the second point. Now you can see that the dimension is being, there's a gap over here, so this gap is whatever the value that you had given into the scale factor. So now if you want to have dim, I want to take the thickness of the PCC or the filling. So now if I want to bring this outside, so I can get it outside the dimension line, the extension line. Now I can have the dim continue. So here I have this value, and then I have this value, and I have this value. Now if I want to move this particular dimension that is, so I can select it, and there's a stretch option. I can always move it. So if also now if I feel that the dimension text are a bit larger, then I can always have the fit option controlling the overall size. So over here, let's say I try with 20, so that I can see that the dimensions are controlled. So this is fine. So here you can see that this is a stepped this is a wall, load bearing wall, and these are the dimensions of the load bearing wall, different thicknesses of brick wall which is laid below. Now let's say if I want to mark this as a ground level, so I have to go with the multi-leader. Before that, I have to set the multi-leader style, and then I set a custom style for it. So here I would always prefer that the text style should be same as what you have taken for the dimension style, and similarly the values of the text height. Currently, let's say if I want to have the value as 50 units, so similarly the leader style 2 is fine, and the leader format color, if I want to have a different color of the leader, and straight is fine. So here and the arrowhead size, let's say here I also give same as the text height, so it is 50 units. So I can go here, and I can definitely go with the now with the multi-leader, provided if I have the settings custom as the current. Now I have this multi-leader, and I want to mark this as the ground level. So now you can see that the leader finishes over here. So the other way of doing is to increase the number of points. So here now I can change the number of points. Let's say go to the modify, so I make it 3 so that I have a landing line of the leader. So set current. So let's see if it works. So I have this, and I want to mark this as the now you can see that the text editor has opened, so you can use the multi-line text, one of the editor where you can select the sizes of the text, and you can always change the font from here itself. Now let's say this is the ground level, so I can say FGL and press enter. So now you can see it is placed over here, and the FGL is marked. Similarly, if you want to dimension the width of this foundation, so you can have this mark like it's 900, and if you want to have a jog dimension, for example, if you want to provide that the height of the wall is a particular dimension, but you have not sketched it, so here you can always have the jog dimension jog line. So for example, if I have the dimension over here, and let's say I mark the height, so I change the height over here. Let's say I make it 3300 as the wall height, and I want to mark it as a jogged line so that it is not the actual dimension that I have mentioned. So select the dimension line and place the jogged dimension where you want to place. Put the object snap off, so that so this can be one of the way by which you can show that the actual length of the wall would be above is 3300. Now you need to mark this is as the damp proof course. So if you want to write this, for example, 25 polished stone overflowing over 100 cc bed, so you can always have it written over here. So this is not a damp proof course, so this is for the stone polish flooring. So if you want to write it, so then there is something called the height of the plinth or height of basement over here. So you have marked the ground level somewhere here, so the height of the plinth level you want to mark. So here you can go with dim linear, and here you can use the 2 points. So now here you want to replace this as a text, so you can always go with the edit text command, and you can write, let's say, plinth height over here. You can always replace the actual text in the dimension with text that you want. So So this is the plinth height is written over here. And similarly, if you want to write this particular annotation, like for example, there is a damp proof course 20 mm thick, and there is a 25 mm polished stone flooring over 100 mm CC base. Two of these leader line you want to write, like the annotations you want to write. So let's say if I want to write it over here, so I can always go with the multi-leader option. So I have the text option also, so I have a multi-leader option. So the text that I want to write is 25 polished stone flooring over 100 mm CC bend. So I would write 25 mm. So let me have the polished stone over say you have this 100 mm CC bed, over 100 mm CC bed. So text, so you can always have this so when you are writing this text, so you are writing in a text editor, and you can put it in the next line also if you want to reduce the size of the text. So you can do it from here. It also, let's say if you want to give the value, let's say 30 or some other value to make it so this is how the leaders annotations can be used for the footing. Similarly, because I'm not showing you the hatching pattern, because we can be using it when we learn hashing. So this is the superstructure of the wall. If you want to show that this is a superstructure of the wall, you can always show it as a superstructure of the wall. So with the leader option. This is the load bearing wall showing foundation details cross section, and load bearing wall over spread footing. So two options are there. One is the spread footing and showing foundation details. So similarly, you can do the dimension. For example, if I want to dimension the, here I can go for the baseline dimension. For example, from the floor level, I am dimensioning the height, let's say, of the door. So let's say there's a door section over here, I can put it here. So now you have to look into it that the extension line should not cross. It should be nearer to the dimension where you are going, because too much lines can create a problem while reading the dimensions. So here you can have the baseline dimension. So I can go with the dim base line. So here now you can see that with the dim baseline there is a issue with the space. So you can always increase the space between these lines by the option called adjust face. So select the base dimension. For example, this is a base dimension, and select dimension to space. For example, you want to select this one and enter a value. Let's say I want to have 50 mm gap between them. So 50 mm would be too congested, so I want to have 150 mm gap. So dim space would be the command. Select the base dimension. Now let's say and select these two dimensions, and I want to have a 150 mm gap. So now you can see that the dimensions are well spaced. So this is one way of using the dimensions, using the dimension style, the dimension lines into a drawing. Then another example that we can go along with is with the isolated footing. This is a drawing that has been done for the isolated footing. So I can always again create a style, and now you can see that there are certain rebars over here with some spacing. There's a column over here, so we have not marked the main reinforcement here. So I would also teach you how to do the reinforcement inside here. So here we have a cover of 50 mm in the footing. The size, let's say, let's measure the size. But before that, so now to dimension this, we need to have a dimension style. So we create a new dimension style. Let's say I would name it as Arial, and we'll have a different text style for this. So text style, I need to create one. Let's say I create a text style named as Arial, and let us give us some kind of font name. So it's I can give a font name to it. So here we are, and apply. And then for the primary units, we are using millimeters, so you can give it 0. And here I want to have the text as per the ISO standards, and in the fit I want to give a lower value, let's say 30 or 25. So let me go and check whether the text style has been okay, done. Now here you can see that the footing is having a width over here, and there is a again the ground level, and there's a thickness of the foundation. So let us mark the depth of the foundation. Let's say here I have a line, and the depth of the foundation is 2000. So here we have the depth of the foundation. That means the column is below the foundation. So let's we have a dimension over here. So I go for a linear dimension and make sure that I select this style. So this is 2000. So this is the depth of the foundation that we have. And we have a cover over here. You can see that for the columns we have used a cover of 14 here. So here let's say if I want to give the size of the column, so here I can give the size of the column from this point to this point, 440. So I want to give a break line over here, let's say above the let's say the column goes beyond the ground level. So to create a break line, I can use a line tool, and I can use this symbol to show the break line. Okay, and I can extend this main reinforcement up so that it shows that the reinforcements are going up. So here you have the main reinforcement. So these are the stirrups, and then you have the main reinforcement over here. The base reinforcement for the foundation is here. So there is a cover of 25 mm. So you have now this is a distribution that we are seeing. So we need to dimension it first. We need to give the thickness of the footing. For example, here we have this is 150 mm, and then the again you can give a continuous dimension here. So you can do wedge. So now this is something 250 mm, right? Then here you need to specify the cover. Let's say you have a cover of 25 mm over here, so you can specify that there is a cover of 25 mm. So you can always have the multileader, create the multileader style, create a new style, let's say name it as Arial, and continue with. And here I am giving the leader structure, 3 points would be there, and then the content I'm using the Arial as a style. So these are certain things that, and again the leader format, if you want to give the size, let's say 20 mm is the size of the arrowhead, so set it current, and you can use a multi-leader over here. So now you can show that you are having a cover of, you can write a text cover 25 mm. So probably the text size should be increased. So to increase the text size, you have to, why the text is coming smaller, because in the leader style, when you selected the style, when you use the style in the content, in the style, the Arial style, you need to specify the height. So it was taking the default. Let's say if I specify a height of, let's say 25 mm. So now you would see that the text would be a bit visible. So this is, I want to write here cover 25 mm. So this is the text that, and then I want to write that these are 6 dia ties at distance of 200 cc. So if I want to mention it, so there is another way I can do a dimension here.